We're calling on grace, the grace of the universe, the love that the Creator, that Amma has for us, which is invincible. This love is invincible. It is always with you. It is more powerful than anything you can imagine. Amma says the most powerful energy on earth is innocence, and that is grace, really. It's all grace. You are grace. And today we're going to talk about what hoodwinks you into thinking that you're not grace when you're grace. Okay, so it is. And may this satsang just be incredibly comforting and illuminating in a practical way, in the way to help you live your lives. Because I'm going to talk about the connection between what happens to us emotionally and what happens to the sun at the level of atoms and subatomic particles. Because this universe is, in a way, a picture of us emotionally in some ways. I also want to talk about the default mode network, which is, some of you have seen my video about it. And I'm going to talk about the connection between this and our burnout and where we get stuck. Yeah. So before I even begin talking about this default mode network, please never use what I'm going to say to add a whole new level of judgmental government to your experience. It is intended to free you. Okay? So don't use it against yourself. Use it to help yourself. Only you can do that. I have no power over what you do with this information. Right. But I'm hoping you use it to help yourself. Okay. So some of you know this, that all of us run this inner monologue. And really, as soon as we stop being busy, it starts. And it will replay things from the past. It will replay grudges against people, our families. It goes all over everywhere. It's kind of our stream of consciousness. This is what I'm hoping that this satsang helps you witness. So this default mode network comes from the parietal lobe of our neocortex, which is our mammalian brain. It's a higher mammalian brain. And these structures are responsible for our inner monologue, our memory retrieval, and self-reflection. Okay, and the neocortex as a whole is involved with higher order cognitive capacities, conscious thought, reason. Okay, this is where a default mode network comes from. So when it's running, and if we're replaying stories from the past, it will activate our stress response in our bodies. And it's called, just so that you have the right names for it, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. And this controls your body's reaction to stress, including excreting cortisol, inflammation, sleep difficulties, and immune system going down, suppression of the immune system. It's, we gear up to fight. Okay, you guys, this is what many of us are running all the time. And the reason I'm spelling it out is I'm wanting you to help you witness what I am not wanting, and I really want to spell this out, that supposing you're struggling with thoughts that are running and old memories and everything, and then you go, oh, and I'm stressing my body. Oh, look at me. What a bad girl. Don't do that. That will increase the price of the chemicals in your body. You know why I'm spelling this out so clearly, because I know you. So, and you know what else, you guys? It's probably what I would have done too, if a teacher had spelled it out like this. So that's what I'm wanting to really emphasize, because I forgot to tell you at the very beginning of this satsang, I got an overwhelming message from the universe to tell you, to ask you to take better care of yourselves. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. Really, I'm almost in tears because it was so strong. It was asking you to do this, asking me to tell you the universe really wants this and you really need it. And that, going forward with that kind of attitude, will help you use all this information in the best possible way, because this information is coming out of unconditional love to help you understand yourselves. But really, there were several figures in my room coming from other realms, making this really clear to me to tell you. That's how big it was. Some of you remember when Archangel Gabriel came when I was giving satsang once. It was the same kind of thing. Tell them to take better care of themselves. Tell them to really love themselves. Right. Because you see, you guys, nobody can do that for you. You're so worth it. And it's why you're here. Right. Right. And really, it's just a decision to do that. Anyway, just do your best with it. So when we get bothered, our bodies excrete these chemicals. So it's also, when you get tired of yourself, when if you ever gotten, I remember just getting tired of myself, and I was tired of these kind of thoughts. And it's good to get tired of yourself, because then you hopefully can give it over to the creator. And because these thoughts are not you. Okay, this is a big deal, you guys. Our inner monologues, we think it's us, and it's not. It's basically just our ego, driving all around. Anybody who's been to India with the streets and the driving, and it's all chaotic and everybody's going every direction. It's the same thing with our thoughts. They just, yeah. Right. But it's based on nothing true at the deepest level. We can think, oh yeah, I fell and hurt my knee when I was 4 and nobody picked me up. So we have that. But on another level, this whole experience we're in is illusion. Yeah. Part of the reason why I go so high in my talks with you, I'm going to bring in the sun and what happens there, is because it's the only thing that solved it for me. When I got these big understandings, I could surrender. It took it out of bad or good. When I understood the big picture, I could go beyond the miserable sinner thing. Mm-hmm. And Amma talks about, the divine feminine energy. I mean, she doesn't call it the divine feminine energy, but it's like an owl who can turn their head in 360 degrees. They can see all sides of the situation. So it's the divine feminine that walks into a party and knows exactly what's happening at the party and really what's going to happen based on what's going on in the present. She will know where the party's going to go. This is very feminine. We just know things, but every man has a woman in them. Yeah. In fact, there's an interesting fact. Women have more connection between the two hemispheres, and men's connection have more connections within each hemisphere. This is why the feminine is very good at seeing the connections between things, seeing the similarities. Yeah, it's so interesting, this stuff. Okay, so this over time, listening to this stuff for years and years and years, it builds big ruts, and the ruts get deeper as we get older. I remember when I was 25, feeling that my thinking already had built ruts, let alone being 65 and having listened to this stuff. Oh my goodness, it's sort of like eating garbage, a lot of it. Ugh. Okay, what this does, it actually damages the hippocampus. I think that's the word. Yeah, hippocampus, which forms new memories. So it shrinks it. So do you see what happens? We let this run. It actually stops us from bringing in new positive memories to weave in to change our patterns. Do you see? So we get even more launched in this kind of what turns into kind of small-minded, feeling threatened. And when people get old, if you knock on the door, like this building has a lot of older people and if you knock on their door, often there's this very scared voice saying, "Who's there?" I'm not kidding. And these people aren't demented or anything. Yeah. And I knew a guy who used to do reflexology for old people, dear soul. He used to go to old people's homes and work on their feet. And he said the stiffness and the tension of their feet, he could hardly communicate to the cells in their feet. It was so strong, many of them. Do you see how our bodies manifest our thinking? So you may think this is woo-woo, but they do. I know you know it's not woo-woo. Even the feet. Abraham used to talk about the best, feet are the basis of your understanding. So if you've got wide, relaxed feet, that's a good thing. Our culture highlights narrow feet. It's just so interesting. You can tell that I've got wide feet, that I'd remember this, right? Anyway, the cure for all this is even 10 minutes of meditation, morning and night, 20 minutes better, saying your mantra, chanting. And you guys, do it. Sometimes I talk to people and they say they do their mantra, but, I don't know, and they don't do practices. But then sometimes I wonder if they're really doing their mantra. It's just something you tell your teacher. So like, I'm a good boy, I'm a good girl, I'm doing my mantra. But if they really look at how often they say it, it might be like once a week. So I'm telling you guys this to I want you to wake up. That's what I want you to do. I want you to wake up and see that you can help yourselves. Because as soon as you start bringing in this, the meditation, chanting, prayer, I mean, even the prayers, when you speak them, they are the vibrations are transmitted through the tissues in your throat and everything. They go down to the vagus nerve that everybody's talking about. And the medicine is putting devices to stimulate the vagus nerve to help with people who are really stuck in depression. But just speaking our mantra, our chanting, we can do it for ourselves. Like the body so responds as soon as we start doing these things. The cortisol stops, the inflammation goes down, your breathing and your heart rate, and you start becoming the most optimal for your body, which is often 6 breaths a minute. And your blood pressure goes down. And your immune system can start going after those cells that aren't doing any good in your body. Yeah, you come back to this sweet neutrality. That's it. I suspect that there's looking at beautiful pictures of nature help us in similar ways. I suspect walking in nature helps us in similar ways. The thing I don't want you to do is to fight this inner monologue, because if you're students of the awareness satsang, you know that whatever you fight gets bigger. And if you're fighting your ego, it's a mug's game, because the part that's fighting it is the ego. It's just the ego being tricky, trying to get you to fight all this so it can get bigger, because it will get bigger. It's very like somebody who's wanting to take over a country, and they will do unfair things and provoke the population. And then when the population rises up and, acts badly, then they bring in martial law. And there's more loss of freedom. You see, what goes on in us is also going on in the world and also in the physical world. It's all one. And, this might be hard to follow with your heads, all of it. But please know you can get the energy with which it's spoken. You can get the heart of what I'm saying. You are getting the intention with which I'm speaking. That is being communicated to you as well. And, it might be good training to listen to it, just because this is such unboxed work that it will help you learn how to think in a bigger way. because it is our small boxes that make us start eating ourselves up when we get caught in them. I'm hearing somebody saying, who am I without my boxes? That's it. That's it. You know, it can be scary to give up our box thinking, but the truth of you will come in more easily. Like Amma says, that there's a great need for us to open the doors and windows of our mind. There's another really, really important thing that prayer does. And I feel like this is absolutely crucial. And what happens during prayer or chanting, the blood flows to our periphery of our body more. And this leads to feelings of, being safe, to feeling meaning. Yeah, and that we're safe. Meaning and predictable. Things are predictable enough. Like when we pray and chant, the psyche feels, oh, okay, we're going to be safe for a while. And relax. The blood goes to the periphery. You stop feeling threatened. You stop feeling defensive. You start experiencing what is outside you as more, part of you. That is a state of realization. Okay. If you keep playing there, that is what the self-realized person walks around in, that everything is them. That's why it's a really important state to cultivate, to help your body get used to. Really, really important. I would say that's more, that's a byproduct of all the physical changes that take place. But really, I think that's the most important thing. To get that, to get accustomed to realize that you're not being threatened. Everything's part of you. Yeah. And the wiggling has started. I know this. I know yeah. Yeah. And we don't feel like this. And because we don't feel like it, we create it. And lots of times, you guys, this default mode network will skew our perceptions towards being threatened, towards being criticized, towards being hated, when it isn't even there. The person, that the way we treat we're totally putting our ego stamp over a fairly neutral situation. This happens over and over. I'll tell you, if you really step back to witness yourself, if you go far enough, you will see this. It can be very shocking. And it's also why I'm really big on reality testing. If you're upset with someone, go back and go like, I've just been feeling a little, bothered or upset. And I'm just wondering, I just want to check that this is what you meant by what you said. It has to be done very gently, very humbly. And it has to be the right person that you do it with. Like the person has to be honorable enough that they can respond to you at the level that you're doing it. And if they're not honorable enough, I would say, just make space. That's what I would do in my life. If I couldn't reality check with somebody, I would make space. It's a very, very powerful thing to do, because lots of times you get whole new information that you never even considered because you were running from your default mode network, which is basically your ego recycling its stuff. That's, you guys, it can make us humble if you get this, that your thoughts are a lot fueled by your ego and a little twisted that way. It can make you humble, like open to learn in the best way. Okay, good. Really, I don't know how anybody has any kind of career apart from doing this kind of work. I don't know. I don't know how you work and do it, but I'm sure it's possible. It's like, the gentleman, the Australian gentleman who is a neurologist, and he's enlightened. He's doing it. It's really true. When we get older, we can get locked into our usual thought pattern. And I see it in this building where they're mold people. I'll give you an example. There was this one woman who thinks I'm after her husband because I'm always so pleased to see him. It's kind of hilarious. I think I've told you, but he's got such a good heart, and I respond, and it just she thinks it beside herself. Anyway, I thought I had seen her in a walker temporarily, and when I saw her, I went up the elevator with both of them. I mentioned, I said, "Oh, were you in a walker for a while?" Wow, she was so insulted. She obviously figured that I could feel it. She was thinking that I was intentionally humiliating her. and and my point had been, basically I was going to go, like, if she'd come out of a walker, that was so great that she'd come out of it, and she was just insulted for even thinking, for me thinking that she could be in a walker. And it's like, oh my god. So, you know I mean, it's just a little domestic kind of example of, she's listened to her default neural mode network too much. And it's kind of a bit of a comedy about all the stuff that goes on with older people. It's all the same thing that went on when they were younger, but it's all worse. Anyway, Primasuda just laughs. Yeah. I actually, went up in the elevator with her husband, and I mentioned that I hadn't meant to insult her and that I was concerned that she'd been insulted. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Anyway, at the foundation of this default mode network is the the grief of our separation from the divine. Yeah. And that's why the more we can witness it, I mean, just stepping back a little bit from it, just realizing that those are your thoughts. I live in this incredibly kind of emotionally loving tropical climate. And in the old days, I used to walk around in a very cold, kind of dark, uh, that was my life. It felt cold and it felt dark. And it was my thoughts that created that. It was now, this thinking. Now, the other thing that is happens, you guys, is when you start to witness, what can happen is with the ego starts to resist, so it can even seem to get darker. So you just have to keep keep the prayers going, keep the meditation going. And your ego will let go. And it will get lighter. This is all things that will happen over years and years. But I'm spelling it out now so that it's like a seed within you. You know? There's a level of confusion, and the confusion is coming from parts of you that you want to be good. Well, it's good to want to be constructive and everything. But it's not good to wall off the truth because we want to be good girls and boys. And this is a level of confusion that is basically in everybody, I'm feeling. And it's really related to wanting to be good rather than true. Yeah. I feel relieved to speak it, actually. You know, like somebody in the room who just speaks the truth and they're so relieved that it's out of them. And it's not criticism of you guys at all. There is just a huge elemental love and compassion coming from this one. And great respect for even taking one step on the journey. That's it. And some of you are saying, when I go to truth, I feel so hollow, right? And you're not in truth yet. That's more still ego. It's like there needs to be one step more into absolute surrender. I'm a creator. I can't do this anymore. Do you remember the poets? But the blossom comes when the fist says, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. Yeah. If all of you come to, I can't do this anymore, as a result of today's satsang or listening to it, great happiness. That's it. There's no rush. You know, we don't want to go so fast that we get destabilized. You have to go at a pace you can handle. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about, I think that's, I want you to, okay, it's about iron and the sun and our burnout. Okay, so in a sun, what happens is the atoms with nuclear fusion. Okay, you know how I've said to you that our metabolic processes cause us to emit light. And in the sun, the nuclear fusion, it's basically the sun's metabolic processes emit its light. So in the sun, the nuclear fusion, what happens is a whole bunch of atoms are thrown together violently, and they're moving violently, and they emit light. It's like a small amount of the mass of these atoms gets turned into light. The light is released. As these atoms become heavier elements, like, so stars are powered by nuclear fusion, which smashes lighter elements together to create heavier elements. During this process, a tiny amount of mass is converted into vast amounts of energy for the heat and the light. Okay. This is similar to our digestion in a way. So these lighter elements get heavier over time. Do you see? these lighter elements release light, and then the elements become heavier and heavier until the thing that kills a star, you guys, is iron. Okay? I want you to get this. Iron marks the death sentence of a massive star because it is the most stable nuclear element. Once a star's core begins producing iron, the star can no longer generate energy through nuclear fusion. This causes an inevitable and catastrophic collapse. Okay. You see, it goes through all the lighter elements, and when it's finally the iron atoms consume more energy. The nuclear fusion of atoms consumes more energy, and there's no, it consumes energy rather than releases it. There is no release of the heat and the light. It's sort of like, I remember reading somewhere that it took as much energy to digest an egg as the calories in an egg. I don't think this is true, actually, but it's the same principle. It takes all the sun's energy to deal with the iron, and no light and heat is released. At that point, a smaller star goes supernova, and then the rest of it turns into a black hole. And a bigger star, the like say one that's more than 20 times the size of the sun, the collapse is so, the core is so massive, it just turns into a black hole. Okay, you guys. Okay, there's another thread just to express what I'm wanting to say to you. Is Jean-Paul Sartre wrote a book called Iron in the Soul. And in it, it explores the themes of existential dread, individual responsibility, and the crushing isolation of defeat following the fall of France. The narrative captures the characters' internal experiences of guilt, despair, and disillusion of their previous lives during the war, highlighting the sense of profound existential emptiness. Okay. So I want to connect all this up with individual burnout. Okay. I feel individual burnout is really like the sun burning out. We stop being able to continue the way we're using our energy. We collapse. We can't do it anymore. And, you know, in my experience for myself, when it happened, it's when I'm not listening to my soul, I'm not responding to my soul, I am going forward with an iron will. You think of somebody who's operating like they've decided something, they've got an iron will, they become less kind, they stop listening to anything of the heart, they won't want to hear anything from the heart, they won't want anything that takes them away from their idea of where they need to go. And when this takes over a person, they do burn out. You see, our outer reality is much more a reflection of us than we realize. And it's much friendlier. It's, you know, you will only get from the outside world what you've given out at some point, this life or another. There's no, you know, existential threat. But when we're burned out, It feels like it. And, the other thing I want to talk about, this is, if you could just follow this as best you can. Volcanic ash can be used as a fertilizer. So these experiences we have where we get burned out, we just need to take time, and it's all going to be used for our betterment. If you take time and respond to yourself, love yourself, it will all be used to fertilize your inner garden. Please. Anything can be used to fertilize the inner garden. It's the mud of the lotus. Excrement is the best fertilizer. We just need to embrace ourselves, love ourselves. If you guys, remember I was talking about how measurement, the scientists who showed that constant measurement stopped these beryllium atoms from transforming. So if we just lay fallow, if you're burned out, just let the burnt ash fertilize your garden. I stopped burning out through wisdom. It stopped happening. Right. It's like you don't know how big you are. You see, it's like you and your processes are reflected everywhere. You are one with all that is. Right. Good. This will take you past bad and good. This understanding that you're so much bigger than any category you could possibly think of. And in my experience, this kind of thinking that I'm expressing to you silences the default mode network. It's like ill-equipped. It can't run. It's stopped, at least for a time. But Pramasudha came to this way of thinking through feeling every emotion, by feeling all the dreariness, all the negative emotions, feeling them, journaling them, watching them until they all went away. And please understand this. Any negative emotion you've got running, any grudge, any hatred, if you just feel it and watch it, what will happen is the diamond at the core of that emotional complex will release out, and you'll get the gem. You'll get a soul understanding coming through. Like you get past a diamond. Every time you do this, you guys. That's why it's important not to go, oh no, this is terrible. I feel this way. This is terrible. My default network's getting bigger. Oh no, don't do that. Just feel it all. And you will get the gems. This is where all this knowledge came from. It was like what was underneath all my rage and hate. It will free your intelligence, free your love. And lots of you are kind of like, you're at the tricycle stage and you're wanting to, get on a speed bike, and it's like you're just going to have to be patient till you're more equipped. Right. And the training, the answer is, this is from the way of the Tao. The answer to life, truly, this is my experience, I can confirm it, is patience, simplicity, and compassion for self and others. That's it. If you just practice that, you'll ace it. Patience, simplicity, and compassion. That's why I call it the compassionate way. Right. And I remember when I fell upon this, like with all my struggles, So by the time I was 40, I knew patience, simplicity, and compassion. And I remember thinking, oh, we just need to be told this. They just don't understand. Once they hear it, they'll get it. Well, maybe not. I remember Abraham used to talk about, he looked around at all the white people in Hawaii and he went, oh, they just don't understand. I'm going to teach them. Yeah. Small groups of them, he did. Yeah. It's just our era. We're in Kali Yuga. So you guys are superstars for even turning up to this, truly. I'm sure this makes sense in a poetical way, like reading a poem, the connection between the suns burning out when there's too much iron, Right. We've got too much iron will, too much of that. It's all over. I hear women saying, oh, I'm going to push through this. And I'm going, oh, don't push through it. Don't do that. Don't. Yeah. And if you have to go ahead with it, just keep saying your mantra. If there's no flexibility in your situation, keep saying your mantra. Keep the prayers going. You always have a choice. For many of you, this admitting the default mode network and admitting how much you function on with this kind of iron approach and how stuck in bad and good you get. That admitting, if you just step back and admit this, the illuminated path will manifest. You'll be able to see it. This is one of the things about teaching you dear ones is, it, the illumination can't come until you do it. Many of you are kind of like, you probably feel stalled, but you're not. It's good. It's good. What you're doing, I'm seeing you gathering daisies in the field, just like a child with a basket and gathering daisies to make a daisy chain, really. And that's very good. It's very good to do that, to just lie fallow and wait for something to come. Wait for a solution to come. Remember, Abraham talked about the vacant look of the cow chewing its cud. It's vacant. I mean, just open. Just open. This default mode network is built on top of your biggest gift. It's built right on top of what your meant to bring forward in this life. You'll do it this life or another life, but you will come forward with your true gift at some point. Sometimes we start on it in a life and maybe can take 2 or 3 lives actually to free it. And I'm saying that not to discourage you, but to give you like just space. But if you really want it, you will tend to get it too. Amma talks about how selfless service is the only soap that really works in Kali Yuga. There are all kinds of levels of selfless service, I feel. I feel the highest is when you embrace your deepest wounding, you put your arms around it and allow it to be healed, and then you give from that level. So this is what this work is, and it's why it has power. I'm not, and all the institutional charities are good. They're great. It's really good. And they may be somebody's true gift. But you can do nice things and do good things without being very involved. You can do it out of your ego, really, rather than from your true self. The best is if it comes from your true self. But the other thing, and again, these beings they're reminding me, they're telling me that I'm working with a group of people who are biased towards not thinking that they're that great. And these beings are telling me that I really need to make sure that you understand your great value, no matter where you are in the journey. You guys, it's really, it's so strong. They're here so strongly telling me this. Please receive it. Like, it's incredible that you even, yes, thank you. It's incredible that you even turn up week after week. Do you understand? In this world we live in, it's incredible that you make the time, that you turn up, that you feel there's something here. It's incredible that you do this. And they're coming to you. I can feel this. They're going to be coming to you this week to help bring peace to your hearts. It's all Amma, but it's coming in this way because sometimes I think we get hooked on our body and we miss it. These divine energies that are here are the level of devotion to you guys. It's like they're so wanting this kind of approach to be better understood and supported, and they're going to do it. They're going to be bringing peace to your hearts this week. Right. Right. It's very strong. They're 4 of them, and they're huge. I've said this before that we get brought to it. We don't really do it. If we try to do it, we burn out like the star, you guys. This is what happens to us. We have these spiritual crises because we're trying to do it. And the crises come to show us to just don't think you're the doer. You're not the doer. Something beyond you is doing your life. It's like, you know how we feel like we have souls, but our souls have us. And we're created out of this default mode network is the result of countless lives, countless experiences, countless impressions. And this is what our soul works with all the time in us, trying to get through it enough to communicate with us. And our souls are so happy when they have a body who's willing to listen. Like that is for the soul, that is just a, 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 a personality and a body that's willing to transform. For the soul, it is nirvana. You guys, our souls get bored with our repetition of patterns. You guys, alert, migraines are a bored and trapped soul. Truly. Okay, anybody who gets them, you've got your soul in a little tiny cubby hole. You've boxed it into utter boredom. And it's letting you know. It's drilling your head. Yes. Okay, good. This is very practical knowledge for some of you. Just playing with that thought will help you come out of the small space that you've put yourself in. There's something else that happens, you guys. Our minds, remember, we get imprisoned by the mind, but we get freed by the mind. So, Amma talks about we need a thorn to get rid of the thorn that's in us, the thing that's bothering us. We have to use our minds as well to free ourselves. And this means opening to insight. You're getting quite OD'd. It's a big session, but there's something I want to say to you is, a while ago, I was just not doing anything much. And I saw a little picture of a woman who was tied up, gagged, tied to a chair. And in my mind, I imagined untying her, freeing her. And in the days afterwards, I felt a tremendous lift and expansion. So that person was Pramasudha. So, and I really want to put an exclamation mark. You can do things like that. You can imagine going into your heart or just imagining untying yourself. But I want you to be very careful about doing these things. Because when you do these things, they set off change and you have to be prepared. So if you say you're going, okay, I want to grow, so I'm going to imagine myself, my child self, in a chair, gagged, all in a little room, all by herself, tied to a chair, which is how many of our child selves we feel. I'm going to untie her. You could go through, unless you were really prepared, you could experience a lot of kind of emotional difficulty in the weeks after. When you do that, you have to ask that it comes in as gently and easily as possible, and you have to do it willing to make the changes in your perspective to help her feel more honored and that she's safe. If you're doing it in a trying to fix, wanting to be good, you will tend to get more of a black hole experience. Because you're doing it with the iron instead of with the heart. You want to do it with the open heart, not with iron will. And at the same time, you guys, so the default mode network, any sage has used their thoughts to help free them. Just like I said, it's not all bad. Your insights come in through your thoughts and head. And then you can use them to help see through the rest of the negative thoughts. You need your head. You need your thoughts, your perceptions. God comes in there sometimes, in the middle of we got a droning inner monologue, and then there'll be some tiny sign of spring, some kind of insight, So nothing's bad. Don't make it bad. This default mode network. What happens, it just turns into a beautiful garden as you proceed. I know this is a lot to take in, but, it can pop some ego balloons, some, and, we have to go high to solve our problems. Amma says, or Einstein says, we can't do it at the same level of thought. We have to go up. Oh, there's so much, I want to tell you about how electrons work and why, real intimacy with somebody. I'm not just talking about physical, but why real intimacy is hard. And it's even in how our electrons are, but any of these physical things I'm talking about can all be transcended by waking up to your soul energy. It's like there's a level, I'll go into it another time, but there's a level that our electrons repel, electrons repel each other. So sometimes with people, this is part of what's going on in way underneath, really. Our electrons are sitting there repelling, but our fields meet, our fields of consciousness meet. And we all know what that feels like. When you meet, you have a higher experience with somebody. It's like with Amma, where your souls meet. And that is the most acceleration. That's the most accelerative thing you can experience. That is the best. That's why people, they just, the hugs, almost hugs. Because when we hug Amma, really our souls meet. That's why they accelerate us so much. If out of this you remember that there was that very strong angelic foursome that came in to reaffirm your preciousness and how valuable it is that you're on the spiritual path, and they're going to bring you peace, and that will help you trust. If you remember that, and remember to understand that all your thoughts are not necessarily true, and if you're getting upset, to do something for yourself, walk in nature or put on some lovely music and remind yourself that, this is a complex, if you can. And if you remember that the suns burn out when their core gets filled with iron and they lose their inspiration, they lose access to heat and light. And when we get too iron-willed, it's not a good thing. But on the other hand, you guys, we need iron to live. Iron in our hemoglobin, in our red blood cells, helps our bodies absorb oxygen. So iron is crucial. I don't want to give iron a bad rap. Without some kind of iron in us, we get pushed over. So we need some. It's just we don't need it massively. Right. So I hope as a result of this that you feel more connected up with the physical universe. And the other thing I want to say is that when the defensiveness gets less with the habit of meditation, and that's a really good thing. If your cells if at the cellular level, you're just a little more open and undefended, that really helps. There's one last thing. Speaking in tongues. They've done scientific studies. The words do not come from the brain that is involved with speaking. Okay, that's scientific fact. So where do the words come from? Okay. Yeah. So, the truth is woven into the science too. We just need to see it. So remember that. Speaking in tongues doesn't come from the part of the brain that's involved with speech. It comes from somewhere else. Okay. So I think that's everything covered. These 4 angels are pleased. They're pleased with the transmission. They're pleased with how you've received it, even if you're a little confused. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Does anybody feel anything hearing this about the sun? Did that help at all? Or is it just kind of useless? It's the kind of thing, when I was on my journey, this stuff really helped when I understood it. It was like, it's just like seeing the bigger picture, the bigger story. Yeah. There's a feeling as if it's sort of like a feeling as if some very beautiful music is wanting to come. Yeah. Okay, it's funny what I'm getting. And this may be saying something about Pramasudha. It's like there's too much determination for it to be heard. It's like I have to relax more without an agenda, just being, without even wanting to hear the music. Right. All these things. Somebody was telling me they felt they smelled Amma's rose perfume, And when we do that, we know we're in alignment. I mean, we get a physical experience of it, that we're on the right track. And it just comes. These moments just come when they come. That's it. And sometimes we have to forget about the journey in a way and just be ordinary for a while, just lie fallow for a while. If our default mode network gets too involved with religiosity, sometimes you just have to step back, even stop meditating for a bit. But it's your sincerity will get you back on track again, like taking space for yourself. It's like a child, a mom with a child. And if the child's getting tired, they'll stop for a while. Same principle. She doesn't force the child, because you end up having a screaming child and taking it home. But if you give the child a bit of a rest, then the child can continue on. Right. You guys, it's a very human process, waking up. You do it through your humanity, You have to take care of your humanity. They're just saying, you know what? One of them said, that's good guidance. He said that loudly to me. And I said, take care of your humanity. Yeah. It's kind of, some of you are, you don't really feel that so loud, but that's the key. That's the key. Make room for your humanity. That's how you get to God, through your humanity. Almost hugs. So human. Prima Sutta even has to be aware for myself that when you guys come to me, there's sometimes that over the years, like really, I've been doing this so long, I have heard so many tricks, so many ego stuff, that sometimes when I'm listening to you, I'm a little, okay, is this really real? Or is there an ego in here? Is the person, what's the truth? I can be a little too much like that. And sometimes afterwards, I realized that, I was too defended. They were pure. Yeah. And, it won't be by a great amount, but it's something that I'm really aware of. Just because in the old days, I would get fooled so deeply and completely. Yeah. So and then sometimes though, I have to be tough with a person. So you guys won't know which it is. Yeah. Just give it all to Amma. And I'm not very tough. So there's a point that your whole system gets deregulated. So all the things that used to bother me don't anymore. Many, many things. Many, many. Like I just am neutral about it. It's like, meh. So you end up going around in peace because you're not triggered all the time, inside and out. Again, these beings are speaking about the importance of self-forgiveness, you guys, for whatever you think you did. Okay, I think everybody's getting OD'd. Any questions or comments or?
Can I speak, Pramasuda?
Oh, Andrea, please come forward. I'm
I really
glad.
I want to speak to the group actually, and I want to talk about Pramasuda and what I just experienced. That's okay if I can share that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, so I can't remember how many sessions ago it was, Pramasuda, that you had said someone in the group is having something taken off their head. And it was me. And I didn't realize it at the time. I didn't particularly feel anything, but I will tell you all that within a short time after that had happened, I went and got a PET scan, and my cancer is almost completely gone. And I have also, I know it's almost completely gone. And there's a tiny little spot right where it started. It is not in my bones. It is not in my lymph nodes. It is completely gone.
It's not
Um,
in your bones.
no,
It's not. It's gone.
gone. The only place that it is a tiny spot in my left breast where it started. It is otherwise gone. And I thank you all in the satsang because it was my saving grace and Brahmasuda is my saving grace. And as much as we can feel that we're being yelled at or, whatever, it's to wake up and it's to have an experience like this that is possible for everyone, right? It's possible for all of us to have these kinds of things happen. Great
It
healings,
is.
great
It
waking
is.
up, great lives, right? And
Yeah,
so I
this is
just really
it.
want, and the funny thing is you just talked about the migraines. And do
Yes.
you know that I suffered terribly from migraines and that they have stopped ever since I started the satsang? I wrote it down when you said it because I thought, oh my God, I haven't had a migraine since I started this satsang. And I take pills for them. And I have them probably twice a month, like debilitating, where I have to take pills. I have to take migraine pills. And it's gone. So I am so appreciative and grateful to Pramasuda, but to all of you. Um, just it's been wonderful to have this support, and I really cherish this time, and I value all of you deeply.
And it's all Amma, right? It's all Amma coming
All
through.
Amma. It is all
Yeah,
Amma.
all Amma.
Yeah.
Andrea, I just like, oh my God. What
Um,
happened was I saw this dark spot and I knew it was Andrea in her head and it was getting looser. It got looser and looser and looser. And then she had this total expansion in the heart area of making a connection to the creator. And when I said this to Andrea, that I saw it, that it was her, and I saw it, you didn't feel it. But I kind of knew that I knew if I see something like that, it's going to happen. So
yeah.
but the bone cancer's gone. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, you guys,
The doctor
oh
wasn't really
my,
impressed, but I was.
what? Who wasn't impressed?
The doctor
What?
wasn't really impressed. She just kind of said, "This was a good scan."
Well,
I wanted
it
to
upsets
dance.
their worldview. It upsets their worldview. They don't know
Yeah.
what to do about it. Yeah.
No.
It rocks them. Ours,
Yeah.
our doctor stopped coming to see us as John got better. He wouldn't even greet
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, but and this is I mean the other thing about this I was so kind of gobsmacked by it that I think to understand the extremity of what a miracle this is. I've only been in treatment for 4 months. It was all over my bones. It was in multiple nodes. Like when I looked in, I went onto like an AI, and I said, how unusual is this? And it said there was a study done of 687 people that went through exactly the same cancer as me and had exactly the same meds as me, and only two out of the 687 actually had this kind of remission, um, or healing, after 4 months. After 4 months of treatment, only two out of 687.
Yeah. But for it to go like that's
I
God,
know.
right?
No, I know. It's incredible. It's incredible. So, yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'm just gobsmacked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Except it is the way it works. But what's
Yeah.
different now is it's manifesting in through your guys' lives. In the old days, I would have these experiences, but now you guys are having them. That's
Mhm.
what's oh, Andrea, I'm like, you know what? Let's your spiritual name is Pratibha. Why don't you come to satsangs with Pratibha as Pratibha? Right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we don't need to earn our names at all. That's Amma would have, it means knowledge, right?
It's one of knowledge. Yeah.
So Amma gave it to Andrea because it's her dharma, right? But this is manifesting Pratibha's dharma. You are manifesting your dharma. Yeah.
hmm
So
Do you
we
know
can
there's
call
one
you.
other thing? There's one other thing that happened as well as I was sitting on the edge of my bed. It wasn't that long ago. It was quite a shock to have someone tell you that it's not there anymore, especially when you're
Yeah.
hunkering down to deal with this for the rest of your life. And I sat on the edge of my bed, and it was so. I remember you speaking about this that sometimes things will come to you in such an ordinary way, like that it just won't be this, horns and
Yeah.
big thing. And all of a sudden, it just came over me, and it was almost like a hug from Amma, the universe, just saying, "You didn't do anything to deserve this. It's
Right.
okay. There's nothing you've done to make this
Right.
happen. Like it's not your fault. It's not,
Good.
there's no
Good.
thing that you could have done that would have, it was just the way that it was meant to be, Andrea. It was okay. It's okay. You don't have to look at your life and, I can't do this
Yeah.
and I can't do that and I can't go here and I
No.
can't,
No. No.
Yeah.
No. No.
Yeah.
No.
So it
The
lifted.
miserable sinner stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
it
Yeah.
lifted. It was lovely. It was very ordinary, but I just had this
Yes.
lovely feeling.
It is like that, you guys.
Yeah.
It's just it's ordinary, like the world of a child. It just happens. The child's there, and it's just yeah. I want to say, like, in relationships, when you fall in love with somebody and there are a whole bunch of bells and whistles, you know that there's probably a lot of personality in there.
Yeah.
But when you feel really kind of just at peace and safe with somebody, and that they've, got your back, that they understand your heart, there are no bells and whistles, but that's it. That's the real thing. Yeah. Oh, Andrea, I'm like, this is also why the angels are here. It's a big session. This is this is when I say to you guys, like that the Kama Sutra, I speak from true reality. This is just stuff I know. It's not, it's real. And here's Andrea with a great gift of a miracle healing. There's another person I was working with recently, and she's gonna have a miracle healing too. I could feel it. Yep. All we have to do is really go, why not? Me too. Me too. Why not? Somebody's standing there. Who wants a miracle healing? Put your hand up. Yeah, I do. How about you guys? I want a miracle healing out of all my ego crap. Yeah, yeah, that's it. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You just keep fanning the flame of the lightness. And when your ego goes into trying to protect itself, you just watch it and remember that, Amma sends us love 24. I mean, she's a beam of love, but also Pramasudha is working so deeply with all of you 24/7. Yeah. And you guys, this is what I set out on, all those years ago when I was just considered a crazy woman. I saw this. I saw this could happen. And I just followed it. Right. And you guys do not underestimate the power of small groups. This is what changes the world. This is, I from the time I was a childhood, I used to get this image of being like the principal of this school of highly gifted children, really gifted children. And I think it's you. And I think it's good there are going to be more. It's like a spiritual school, highly gifted, helping the world. Yeah. It reminds me a little bit of the Greek. They had healing, they had oracles and healing temples. Yeah. Where people would come together. Anyway, oh, Andrea, you have just made I can't even put a limit on it. It's just J Ma, you know, right. Are you are you willing just for the little funny thing about the ATM, Jane?
Oh, yeah. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, I just think you remember the metaphor of it all. Okay,
Mhm.
and correct me if I'm wrong, Andrea, but apparently there's a gene that's broken, and
Yeah. Heartbreaking.
it can result that the cancer goes into your bones faster than it normally would.
It just means it meant that I would get cancer like more than double what the average is. Um,
Okay.
and and that they said that the reason why, because it was, we could not figure out, we were so confounded why it went so quickly into my bones. It usually takes 5 to 10 years. It went in within a year. It went into my bones.
Right.
And
So
that was
you
the
guys,
broken gene. Mhm.
and it's called ATM.
ATM.
Okay. Remember, the universe is always speaking to us. This is where we get into where our root chakra wounding is. We think that the money is really important, and it's actually the we don't even need to focus on money at all. If you focus on truth, you will get the money you need. Even if it seems like it's not enough, it will be enough for your needs. Yeah. So this is just, the writer in Pramasuda, the English major, that I notice all the stuff about the words. And it's a bit of a flag, right, Andrea? I mean, it's something that's, I'm sure you'll keep in mind, right? How could you not?
Yeah.
Right. And we're all a little frantic about money. Maybe not all of us, but I remember raising the boys. Isn't it sad? John said, Mom, when he grew up, he said every 6 months you'd go, oh, we need money. Oh, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. And it's, it's so interesting because Eric didn't say that to me, but John picked up the issue. It's John's issue, or it has been John's issue too. So he would pick it up from me. So I want you to understand we pick up issues from our parents that relate to us, our past lives. Eric didn't. Okay. So what I'm saying about this, if you, and also I remember a channel in my 20s saying, well, the thing you work with most is material support, because I was in England and uh, freelancing and didn't have very much money. So I'm believe me, I have been cut from the same cloth. Yeah. And yeah, and the exposures may be a little uncomfortable, but it's good for you. It's good. It's good for us just to, you're okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we all, the ATM for all of us.
It's true. I was very, I have in the past been very focused on, and it's the same thing for my son, right? Now he has this connection with money and worry about it.
Yeah.
It's always been a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, our whole culture, and another thing is, I think we know we're not living in a sustainable way and we can't keep it going. And I think that also adds to our fear of survival, our survival fears. And we end up getting more attached to money out of this underlying feeling of we're not living in a safe way. We can't keep living this way, filling our bodies with plastic, abusing the earth and everything. Oh, I'm like, Andrea, I am in total ecstasy. I just, what a story. Wow. Andrea's writing it. Hopefully you'll keep
Yeah,
going with it.
yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, how blessed we are, you guys. How blessed we are. We have Amma, that we could do this. What dreams may come, you guys. What dreams may come. Yeah. Yeah. Next week, we're going for, it'll be the Saturday for the memories and, first memories and dreams. We'll have another one available. Anybody wants to come. And then the regular Sunday. I am in ecstasy. Yeah. Does anybody need to say anything? Just last call? Wow. We're, we're just so great. And I mean this in the best way.
Laura,
Laura, sweet one.
Laura, I have another miracle healing to tell you about. Um, it's also satsang members who can't come anymore. It's Cindy, who used to
Oh,
come.
Cindy.
She's been very sick. She went into the hospital on Monday. They thought she wasn't gonna come out, and some people went to visit her, left her a picture of Amma. She got a miracle healing that next day. The doctor couldn't believe it and said, "You're going home."
I think
Just
she's
like
done this
that.
before. Didn't she go to hospice once before and got pushed out? She got,
She
yeah.
was in the hospital. They thought she was going to be gone in a week. The
This is such
doctor,
good news. It's such
Jema,
good news. Jema, Jema, you guys, we have Amma and your eternal soul. This is what this is. Love your humanity and become your true self. Love and forgive your humanity and become your true self. Ah, I'm just in ecstasy. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Andrea. Pratibha. What dreams may come. Okay, you guys. Well, I guess we gotta go. Bye.